Hello, and thank you to Rooftop Revolutionaries for the intro. I am here for Common Censored, joined by Eleanor Goldfield.
Hello.
And this is the show where we talk censored stories and people, sensible solutions, and common ground movements to fight and build.
It's sorry, I had to yawn.
You couldn't yawn before or after your line?
No, it's kind of like when you're going on a road trip with a kid. You're like, do you have to pee now? And the kid's like, no. And then you leave the driveway and the kid's like, I gotta pee! That's how my yawns work. And I needed to yawn right then. And that's just...
Well, we're not pulling this podcast over for you to pee either. Well, it's funny you yawned in the middle of that because I was going to say, you're getting a rare morning episode. So we're filming this in the morning, and we'll see. I have a funny feeling that...
Shit, we're filming it?
Or whatever, taping it. I have a camera phone under the table. I have a funny feeling you'll hear the coffee kick in about halfway through, and you'll be like, "Oh, now they're making sense." Now
it's a lot faster.
Yeah, now it's faster. Things are clicking a little bit. Well, I hope it clicks in. I hope it starts working, revs up halfway through the show. But yeah, let's get started. I wanted to say real quick, another live stream this Friday, 8:30 p.m. on youtube.com/moment of clarity. For those of you who attended this past week, we're sorry for the choppy video. We're hoping to have that fixed by this coming Friday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. But we got a lot to talk about. We're going to get into coronavirus. We're going to get into what ICE has been doing, the Redskins name change. I've got an update on Bountygate that is hilarious. But let's start with the fact that COVID-19 continues to ravage the U.S., and we haven't usually made this like our, one of our main stories because it is on every mainstream outlet, so I feel like people get their coverage of it. But I never want people to think that we're avoiding it because it's not important. We're avoiding it just because everyone knows it. But some things you may not have known. New COVID-19 cases this past Tuesday, so about a week ago. Germany, 279. This is in one day. So Germany announces 279. Denmark announced 10 new cases. Norway announced 11. Sweden announced 283. The U.S. announced 60,000 new cases in a day, and I believe we've beat that record by now. So this was a week ago.
And that's just people that they know of.
That's just people they know of. Yeah, most people don't get tested.
Our testing and our healthcare system, I don't have to tell you guys if you're listening to this in the U.S., or really outside of the U.S., our healthcare system is world-renowned. The likelihood of someone who's sick...
Is the term still world-renowned, or is it world, shit talked?
A lot of people do not seek medical attention when they're sick because they can't handle the medical bills. So 60,000 is really a low estimate.
Right. So it's a low estimate. And I had mentioned this before, but now they're starting to have evidence of this, that many people who have died of COVID-19 have had blood clots kind of throughout their body. That's one thing that certain people get. Not everybody gets that. But that actually goes with the fact that I heard an interview with a firefighter in Brooklyn, and they get called, obviously, for a lot of heart attacks and things. It's not just fires. And she said that they'd seen 5 times during the peak of the New York, when it was going through New York City, they'd seen 5 times as many heart attacks at home where people were dying from heart attacks than they normally do. And none of those people get tested. It's just they die of a heart attack, it goes down as heart attack, that's the end of it.
Right.
So these numbers are not even accurate, and we've got 60,000 in the U.S. And some people are saying, well, many of those countries are the size of a U.S. state. But even so, like Florida, I reported something like it was either 3,000 or 5,000 new cases. 5,000 in one day. So if you want to compare a more accurate number, it would still be like Germany 279, Florida 5,000.
Yeah.
That would be a more comparable number. But yeah, it really is terrible. And some of this comes down to some of it comes down to terrible healthcare system. Some of it comes down to the fact that we aren't helping each other as much as some nations do. Some nations understand, like, hey, to help others, I need to not be going to bars and going to restaurants and things like that. And we don't seem to get that. We're like, fuck it all, man. I win by killing my friends.
Right. And I'll go ahead and say, like, for anybody listening to this that's saying, like, man, I hear you, but I really miss going to the bar, and I really miss, and it's like, yeah, dude, I do too. We both miss performing. We both miss hanging out with people in bars, in restaurants.
I miss truck stop glory holes. So much gets taken away.
But not enough to kill people. I actually, I posted this like a week or so ago. It was a quote by Ryan Sutton, who's a food critic. And he wrote, "For me, the low risk of sending a single uninsured waiter to an ICU bed, someone who isn't really there by choice, in exchange for the pitcher of frozen margaritas you happen to be craving in the late afternoon, is a morally indefensible transaction." And that kind of sums it up, right? I get that people want to go back to hanging out at bars and hanging out at restaurants, particularly with the weather being warmer, if people are into that. But you could literally be killing people, and this is not an exaggeration, people. This is legit how it works. I was talking to a friend of mine who's a bartender yesterday, and she was saying that, she might have to quit soon because the way that people are acting, with their masks off, like drunkenly asking for more to drink and like spewing shit everywhere. It's like, it's not worth dying for.
Well, and if you are a bartender, it's not like you're bartending for the people, a broad swath of society. Right now, you're bartending for the people who are often the craziest, who are like, I don't give a fuck, or I don't believe in it, or whatever. So that means you've got to bartend for the people who are like, masks are for pussies. Like, those are the people that are most likely to be in your face at these bars.
Right,
So.
and you had this comment before when we were, because in DC there's a lot of, they've extended eating areas out into the street, which is cool because there's less traffic, which
Unfortunately, they didn't tell the cars, and everyone's just getting mowed down. But
I feel like should have been happening a long time ago. But there's this interesting sort of like the way that people respond, thinking that there's like this magic veil that protects them somehow.
Because patio seating.
Because you're on the sidewalk walking and everyone's wearing a mask, right? And then just beyond this railing that's maybe half an inch thick, everyone has their masks off, they're talking, they're sneezing, they're, whatever.
They've got their bowl of salad out.
Right.
And their food is sitting there.
I'm like, so do you think that there's like a magic barrier between you and the sidewalk?
It's a patio shield. It's called patio shield. It's a magic force field.
It's a force field
that protects patio fun time.
Right.
I've often it protects specifically brunch is thoroughly protected. Evening drinks, evening margaritas. That actually those have been proven to never get COVID-19.
That's good to know.
So
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, patio protection, serious thing.
So here's the thing: if you're listening to this and you're pissed off and you're like, look, well, I have to go to work. I'm a waiter or I'm a bartender or whatever, and I have to go to work because I have to work
run
to
the
survive.
glory holes.
I get that. That's fucked up too. And I think that you shouldn't have to be putting your life in the balance in order to survive. So instead of like arguing with each other, like, look, I gotta work, let's join forces and direct that anger towards those who expect us to die for their bottom lines. Like, this is where the anger should be pointed, not at each other, because you either do you do want to go back to work because you're bored, or you want to go back to work because you have to. It's like, I get it, but the larger picture here is that like people want and expect you to fucking die so that their bottom lines can be bolstered enough that they have the ability to buy a second yacht.
And some people are going to go out and do some other, maybe not the fucking bar thing, but there are definitely people that understand it and are upset about it, and they still feel that they, need to go to, let's say, they want to walk to the bookstore because they want to help the local bookstore, or they want to get a haircut. And it's, it's not about like you can never do anything. I don't think it's about doing it right. And it's like, if you're gonna be in the bookstore, make it quick, buy a book and have your mask on the whole time. Like, It's so
Well, and that's the difference between like a restaurant or bar and a bookstore. Like at a bookstore, there's no reason to take your mask off.
Right,
when you're
right.
at a bar or a restaurant, you obviously have to take it off in order to
and
eat. And then like the more drinks you have, all of a sudden you're like getting closer to people and
Right. Right, and with a bookstore, the goal is to go in and get a book real quick, as quick as possible. With a bar, the goal is to sit there and yell at your friends because the music's loud. And
right.
but I will say that it was big news. Trump was seen in public with a mask on. He has actually worn a mask. I don't know if he just science just won that day. Maybe his drug cocktail that he takes, whatever the fucking diet pills that he's been snorting for 30 years are. Maybe they were a little lower down on the frontal lobe or something. I don't know, but whatever it is, he actually wore a mask in public. But I wanted to get to the causes. Some of the things that this pandemic is causing. One of them is that, and I'm going to be covering this more on Redacted tonight soon, but that 28 million evictions are looming. They're going to stop this freeze on evictions very soon. About 5.4 million Americans lost health insurance so far during this pandemic. Many of them from losing their jobs, or maybe that number is all of them from losing their jobs. Because it's a ridiculous system to have your health insurance tied to your job. And it just one of the many questions. Like I said, I've been digging into this more on Redacted, but one of the many questions is, why are evictions like one of the few things that must get back to business?
Right.
Like, out of all the things that are fucking shut down, eviction, kicking people out of their fucking homes is like this. We are not a society if we don't make sure people are homeless right now.
And this is also an important time. To kind of like look at this from a different angle, why the quit your job movement is important, and why ACAB, because the cops are the ones who ensure that people are forced out of their homes. So it's like, if you know someone who's a cop, if you yourself are law enforcement, do you really want to have that job where you are forcing people to become fucking homeless, and then later on you might have the job of moving their tent because they're in the wrong place, where there's no right place for people to be, of course, if they're homeless. So you want to make people homeless, and then you want to make sure that they can't rest or be anywhere as homeless people, and this is the job of law enforcement. And so like it's important to recognize the power and importance of these movements, and these like the push for the quit your job, which has been directed towards law enforcement, towards ICE, towards all kinds of people, and making it clear that your job is to oppress people. Your job is to be the fucking Gestapo, the SS, the
fist of the fascist state.
Right, exactly. And so that's another side of this. And also it really speaks to the power of getting the word out. So folks might remember, I can't even remember what month it was, but the moms in Oakland who had taken over an abandoned home to live there with their children, and then they were forcibly evicted at like something like 2 a.m, which is a popular time to do evictions because they know you're going to be at home and asleep.
Right.
And then because of national outcry, they were basically able to get back into that house, and with the help of a lot of community organizers, were able to purchase that home, and now they live there. So this really speaks to the importance of nationalizing these fights as well, and creating community support so that when people show up to remove people, there is an entire community surrounding that space. I'm reminded of the I believe it was the Dallas chapter of the Black Panthers, where the cops came to evict them, and there were like 3,000 people who surrounded the building, and the cops were like, never mind, can't do it. Like, this is the kind of power that needs to be shown when these evictions start popping off. So, if there's organizing capacity in your area, or if there's, what we call like an organizing hole that you can fill, that's something that should really be addressed.
Right, and I think that's a great point about, for police like you need to realize that you're going to be the one in charge of, like, because a lot of cops think like, I did not sign up or want this job in order to kick my neighbors, my community, even people I don't know out of their homes. I signed up for this job to shoot unarmed black people. And so I think that they probably don't like that at all.
Yeah, no, I mean and this is the the Nuremberg defense. I'm just doing my job, right? This is where that comes into play.
And just a refresher: did society, did the world come down easy on those Nazis who said they were just doing their job? Is that are they living?
That was considered a not
pretty?
Good enough defense.
Oh, not good defense. Okay, gotcha.
And this is what you hear in law enforcement all the time, like I've heard this at protests constantly. I've heard this at actions where cops are protecting the pipeline company's interests rather than people and planet. This is well, there's nothing I can do, I'm just doing my job. There is something you can do. There's always fucking something that you can do, but it's just easier, of course, to say I'm just doing my job. So yeah, that's.
So last thing on this, back to the 5.4 million Americans have lost their health insurance during this pandemic. We've also discussed, I think, before about how for a while now they're saying testing's free, but for a while they were charging people like $3,000 for a test. The remdesivir, which. Sorry to promote Redacted Tonight so much. I have a Redacted Tonight on that coming out this Friday. Remdesivir is supposed to be this drug that helps with decrease the amount of treatment you need for coronavirus. That drug, they're charging $3,000 a treatment for that one. Just insane amounts of money if you don't have insurance. And so people. They avoid getting tested. They avoid all these things, and everyone knows all that about how terrible our healthcare system is. But I just wanted to point out again, the same with the evictions. Why is kicking people off their health insurance the thing that needs to get going as fast as possible? It seems like the most horrific aspects of our society are the things where they're like, we got to restart this now. All right, we really got to get to everything else. They're like, listen, everybody, just chill out and just accept that things are shut down. We can't renew your passports. We can't be at the DMV. We can't do anything, all this stuff. But we have succeeded. Don't worry. The government has got your back. We have succeeded at kicking millions of people off health insurance. So we got that going. Also, we've processed 28 million evictions. I mean, do you understand how much time that takes to process all those and to get them all straight and to call the cops and to call the bank and, fucking arrange it all? I mean, we've been working our asses off in the middle of a pandemic, and we'd like a little respect for that.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of work. Yeah.
Also, a third of Americans apparently didn't pay rent last month. A third of renters didn't pay rent last month, or I believe that includes mortgages. That's fucking crazy. I mean, unless our government, and someone just, I haven't verified this, but I think it's true. Someone told me that Canada has, their bailout is $2,000 per person or maybe family in Canada for the next 4 months or something. So basically, it's a 4 month or so UBI so far, and it's like our government could set up a system where this is not. Easy. If they're going to throw trillions of dollars around like they have been doing for this bailout, then they could set up a system where people are not being kicked out of their jobs, kicked out of their homes, kicked off their health insurance.
Well, that's the thing. It's like and I know that people who are fans of the whatever the monetary theory is, that
MMT,
are going to be like, but you can just, no, I get it, but follow me on this. And by the way, for folks who aren't familiar, MMT is basically the concept that it doesn't matter what you decide to spend money on because you can always make more money. And I get that.
And the government basically works on that premise.
And I get that.
For shit they want, like military.
Right. And while I understand that, we are working within the paradigm of the fact that there is shit that we spend money on and shit we don't spend money on. And the argument is always that you can have either or. And while of course, you can just create money. There is there's a fallout when you do just create money, because it affects it affects the currency and it affects the economy. But anyway, if you had to choose, obviously, would you spend more than half of your discretionary spending on the military? Obviously not. You'd spend it on education and healthcare and housing. And it's this idea that you can, I mean, not just the military, but like, how about making sure that Bezos is the world's first trillionaire? Is that something that everyone wants to stand in line for? Yeah, no, we have to have the first trillionaire. I don't care if I fucking die of, being homeless and not having health care. I want to see the world's first trillionaire, said no one ever.
I bet he'll give me a high five once he gets there.
Right? And then I'll die of COVID. It's the idea of priorities and the prioritization of violence on behalf of the state, imperialism both at home, vis-a-vis the law enforcement harassing and occupying black and brown neighborhoods and, of course, killing folks, and then, of course, imperialism across the globe. It's prioritizing that and the interests of Wall Street over the lives and livelihoods of people. And so this is the core issue of our capitalist system, and that's why I've said before, nobody does capitalism quite like the US. We really are number one when it comes to the extremes of how cutthroat and how cruel capitalism can be.
We're like advanced late stage capitalism. This is how it all ends for every capitalist society, but we're getting ahead of the curve.
And at the same time, you have what's called like it's like nice fascism, which is basically just like neoliberalism. It's the idea that, whereas with Nazi Germany, for instance, you had like the violent and very overt takeover of the government by like corporate interests and the genocidal machinations that followed were very overt. But here you have friendly fascism is what it's called. You have this sort of friendly fascism where all of this kind of happens behind a veneer of, sparklers and American flags and Gap ads and, shit like that. And
Gap ads holding sparklers.
Gap ads holding sparklers. So it's this idea that you're not going to see the rise of fascism the way that you saw it in Germany or in, Spain or things like that. It's going to be more covert, and it's going to be, polished with this sort of paint of consumption and consumerism, and it's not going to look the same, but the end goal is the same: to oppress people, to deal in violence and destruction.
So I have looked up the Canada Emergency Response Benefit. And I was half right, or the person who told me that was half right. It is $2,000 a month for the next 4 months for people who lost their jobs because of COVID-19. And, I would argue that you could say 90% or 99% of job loss has some connection to COVID-19. I also
wonder, are they asking people to prove that? Like, how would you prove that? Unless you get, like, a note from your boss, like, hi, I'm firing you because COVID.
Well, right. And a lot of these jobs would be, the boss is not going to say it's because of COVID. They're going to say, because business has declined or whatever. But I guess the reason they put that stipulation in there is so you can't someone is like, look, I grabbed the coworker's ass because COVID was making me nervous, all right? I needed some comfort in this time of need, so I grabbed her ass. Anyway, $2,000 a month for the next 4 months for anyone who lost their job because of COVID-19. And anyway, even though that's not $2,000 to everyone, that still would do a massive amount here in America for 4 months to make sure that these evictions, this fucking looming fucking tsunami of evictions wouldn't happen. I mean, it should also include health insurance so that you don't lose your health insurance from your job.
Of course. But something to look out for here.
Well, in Canada, they don't need that.
Something to look out for here, too, is, and I've talked about this, too, the fact that our capitalism, though cutthroat, is malleable. So right now, of course, you've seen the Black Lives Matter painted on the streets and shit, and capitalism is all like, yay, Black Lives Matter, that kind of shit. But in reality, of course, in terms of policy and action, they don't give a flying fuck about Black lives. And
hold on, Biden has said he endorses the Black Lives Matter movement. He just disagrees with all of their demands.
So capitalism is incredibly malleable, and capitalism will do what it can to save itself. So, in terms of it being, like it's actually not as rigid in a lot of respects as we think it is. Of course, it's rigid in the terms of like actually we want human rights, and capitalism is like no, but
it's incredibly adaptive at stopping human rights.
It's willing to give just enough so that you can stay alive but stay oppressed. So, for instance, you might see certain things happen in the next few months, like now we're going to send you another check, or we're going to extend the unemployment benefits like a few weeks or something. So you might see some of these like little tidbits happen, but don't be fooled by them, because it doesn't mean that the system is recognizing our pain or recognizing our demands. All it means is, hey, if we continue this way, there might actually be a huge uprising, and we want to avoid that. So we're going to give them just enough to shut them the fuck up. It's the same thing with the Black Lives Matter painted on the street. We're going to give them something that is shallow and worthless, and hope that they shut the fuck up. So don't be appeased by these potential, I'm not saying they will happen, but they might, but don't be appeased by these potential handouts, because they don't mean anything constructive in terms of systemic change.
Yeah, you got to fight for more than just a little show, a little sparkler. Here we lit a sparkler for you. Does that do it? So speaking of jobs that continue despite the pandemic, let's talk about ICE.
Yes. So ICE is speaking of a fucking Gestapo.
Our good old friend ICE.
So this was actually brought, this first point was actually brought to my attention by a good friend of mine, Ifat Ghazia, who's a Kashmiri activist and filmmaker, and she's a total badass. And if you're not familiar with Kashmir, you're not alone, but it is, just a little background, it's the most militarized place in the entire world. That's including Palestine. It was taken over by India soon after India won its independence from Great Britain, and then decided, well, good, now we're free, let's oppress some other people, which seems to be like a common theme. I don't know why that's a thing that people do
with Israel as well. It's like yay, we've got our spot to ourselves now, let's oppress those people.
Right. It's like, couldn't you just enjoy your, have some olives? I don't know, just fucking calm down. But Ifat,
but their olives taste better.
The olives are always greener? I don't know.
Wait, that means they're not ripe, though.
Oh, well, no, they're green olives.
That's true. There are green olives. But...
can you tell we don't know a lot about olives?
I just remember when I was a kid, I was like 16, I went to Israel, and the tour guide with my family, and the tour guide said like, oh, these are olive trees, and some kid was like, some 18-year-old was like, oh, can I eat them? I love olives. And they're like, they're not ripe. You don't want to eat those. And this kid was a classic American douchebag, like fuckface. And so he's like, ha, I'm tough. I'll eat it. I like olives so much that I don't care what the tour guide said. And he grabbed the olive off the tree and threw it in his mouth. And then he started vomiting on the side of the road. It's totally revolting.
Yeah, so I didn't realize, again, I didn't know a lot about olives. I still don't. That they have to be prepared. So the olives that you buy at the store,
they're marinated.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. I thought you just picked up the olives, threw them in some vinegar or some shit, and then you were ready to go.
Well, you did. I guess you did know that you don't often see olives sitting in a basket at the grocery store.
No, but we also, but that's not we don't have olives here. I've never seen an olive tree in the U.S.
You know what else has to be pickled appropriately is pig's hooves. Don't eat those straight off. If you eat those straight off the vine, they're very tart.
Are you familiar with head cheese?
I don't want to know what it is.
It's the little bits of the pig that are left over, and then you pile that all together.
by leftover, you mean?
It's like the nose and
snout.
Yeah. And so you pile that all together and you put it in gelatin, and that is head cheese. And then you can slice it.
Is this a dessert?
No.
Do you throw some whipped cream on
You
this?
slice it, and then you put it on like sandwiches and shit.
Oh, God.
It's a thing. You're welcome, everyone. Yeah, that's yeah. So anyway,
I guess it's recycling. You're using all the pig, right? it's good to use everything.
But then aren't you also then using horse parts in order to make the gelatin? So you kind of.
So you're using everything. You're using the horse hooves to make the gelatin.
But why are you killing the horse?
Oh,
I mean, why are you?
He said something about my mom. I really don't want to talk about it. No, but what was I gonna say about pigs' hooves? That's the great thing about McDonald's hamburgers is, it's got like cow anuses in there, cow eyeballs. They use all of it,
True. It's also got, whatever chemicals they use to make meth in it.
Rat droppings, because, a lot of times in the factories, you're like, who's going to eat all these rat droppings? And then they
and cow droppings, because, when the cows get nervous that they're about to get murdered, they shit. And then that all just gets piled into the same place. So,
yum. I hope everybody was... Who was having lunch right now listening to this?
Sorry, but hey, we might have actually made some vegetarians on this episode, so that's cool. So anyway, back to ice. How the fuck did we get to anyway?
Keep your head cheese on ice. That's how we got to this.
Yes, always refrigerate your head cheese. So basically, ICE's latest directive has basically been to, as Ifat Ghazia put it, pushing students to choose between disease and deportation. The basic idea being that immigrant students who are here on student visas will have to make the choice between either facing deportation or going to in-person classes. Because, we want to get people back in school. We can't just have people learning online. What the fuck is this? That's not how America works. So basically, the directive states that students currently enrolled in programs taught entirely online must depart the country or take other measures such as transferring to a school with in-person instruction to remain in lawful status. ICE's point is that, well, if you're going to learn online, you don't have to fucking be in the U.S., you gross immigrant. You could be in your home country. The problem is, of course, that that's not an accessible... First of all, that's fucking fascism, like getting rid of people that are immigrants that are here to learn just because why? You don't like them? And second of all, the idea that they would have access both in terms of time, because obviously the time of your class in the U.S. is going to be like the middle of the night if you're in fucking, Japan or India, but also the access to the internet. So for instance, Ifat makes the point that India has instituted a internet blackout in Kashmir as part of their oppressive dealings against Kashmir, and it was just recently lifted, but still they're operating at speeds that are like 2G, which if you're not familiar with that and you're younger than 25, you don't ever know what that meant.
It's like an image takes 5 minutes to upload.
Right. So the idea that you could ever fucking use that for anything is laughable. So essentially the blackout is still very much in place in Kashmir thanks to India's oppressive violence against Kashmir and Kashmiris. So you're basically saying, either go to class and possibly die, or go back home and you don't have access to education because, you don't have internet. So,
well, and they're just kind of using this as an excuse to just try and get rid of as many people,
right,
immigrants who are, here for legit reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I don't know if this is too much of a subject change, but it's about education. I was listening to Richard Wolff, I believe, on Loud and Clear, and he was talking about how a lot of these universities they don't know what they're going to do because they're worried they're going to collapse under the strain of this pandemic,
mm-hmm.
because he said many of them have shifted to profit-making organizations.
Right. Yeah.
So before, years ago, like universities were just about being universities. They were just there to, even if they did charge a small fee or some kind of fee to keep things running, their board didn't get together and go, how much did we make this quarter?
Right.
And so they could have withstood any kind of pandemic, because the pandemic, even if it were to last 4 years, you just reopen the university and you're back at it. But now that they are profit-making entities, profit-seeking entities, they are like, we can't make the profit that our shareholders demand. And by, if you decrease the class size, or you have people go online to do their classes, they're not going to want to pay as much tuition. And so you have like universities that are all going to go out of business because they became a business.
Which is just think about that for a second, that like places of learning are fucking it's just as ludicrous as saying that saving someone's life is a profit is a profit seeking entity. It's fucking absurd. But yeah, the way that these organizations are structured is now not about teaching; it's about profit. And of course, this speaks to why education in the United States has fucking face planted. Like, we are not. Our institutions of learning are institutions of programming, really. We're programming human beings to be good proles and to be good, obedient citizens. Yeah. And, it's why, like, if you have the ability to have someone like Richard Wolff as your professor or something like that, you hear these stories of like, oh, there was this one beacon of like information and intelligence in the midst of a sea of like sameness. It's why I dropped out of college, because I was fucking bored and I felt that the professors were either, lackluster and, bored with their existence, or they were like peddling some shit that I wasn't interested in, and it just felt like we're programming you to be a good worker.
Well, and this is such a large topic, it's probably for a future show, but that the education, the programming of American citizens begins much younger.
Totally.
In as early as third grade, we had already basically been divided in our classes as the kids who were talented and gifted. That was the name of the program, and it wasn't like talented and gifted classes that you go to all day, but it was like, these are the talented and gifted kids, and the others are kind of the regular kids. And that gets more and more entrenched as, you can take higher level math, you can take higher level language, you can move up to the AP classes. And those who are kind of down on the lower levels, or even the middle level of those advancements, it is assumed by the teacher, by the schools, by the coaches, by really everyone, these are the workers. They are not going to do anything impressive. They are going to just be slaving away, and they get separated very early. Now, could a kid who doesn't do well in math do something amazing later in life, be a great artist or something? Yep, certainly. But if we've programmed them from starting at third grade, hey, you are in this lower tier and your dreams need to, it's like, sorry to quote a Louis C.K. joke, but Louis C.K. had a joke about, he said, I played a polytechnic, a technical high school, where he goes, that's where people go with like a specialty, like we go to learn, woodwork or whatever, to be a auto mechanic or something. But you can do, so in some states they have those in high school. And he goes, yes, a technical high school. That is where dreams get whittled down. 2, 3 things. We grow up telling kids you can do whatever you want, and in the technical high school they tell them you could do 3 things.
Well, but it's also interesting that like people that's something that like, oh, you can do anything, you can be anything you want to be. No, you can't, because we're going to beat that out of you.
Right,
like, that's something
right.
they tell you in kindergarten when you're learning, like, oh, maybe I could learn to ride dinosaurs. But then as soon as you get to fucking, like, 4th and 5th grade, they're like, look, this is how you balance a checkbook, which I don't even know if they teach you anymore. This is how you balance a checkbook. You're going to be poor probably the rest of your life. You're probably going to be in debt too. So, just learn how to like clean floors and shit. And that's going to be your life.
Well, and beating those hopes and dreams out of kids and their creativity out of them, it used to take a lot of time and a lot of effort, and then we found pharmaceuticals.
Right.
And now it's a lot easier.
Exactly.
You give for each they've done studies for each Adderall pill that's worth a year of trying to beat the dreams out of the kid. So
I'm glad that they did that study. That's very helpful.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I just recently spoke about this as well. There's a reason that arts classes are either cut or considered not important. And this is not some kind of like conspiracy theory like, oh god, they're taking your art class because they don't want you to paper mache. This is about like thinking outside the box. Like art classes aren't just about like learning how to fucking, paper mache and draw. It's about
hand
activating,
turkey, making the hand turkey.
Right. It's about activating your brain in ways that think outside the box. Like, oh, what could this be? What could this look like? What in music classes, like learning to think outside of the confines of like, your math classes, and although there's a lot of math and music.
This pipe cleaner could be used for something other than cleaning pipes.
Right. And so that's why these classes are cut, because creativity is not considered important. It's actually considered detrimental.
Dangerous.
You should stop your kids from daydreaming because it's useless. When in fact, like, kids should have, like George Carlin said, kids should have like dedicated daydreaming time. I actually think adults should too, but that's
well, right. And the creative kids, if they're allowed to foster that, they become the hippies. They become the people that say, what if we had community gardens? And that was kind of something I really focused a lot of time on, and I gave fresh vegetables to the neighborhood. Like, that's the kind of thing. Whereas you have to be trained and restricted to think that the capitalist mindset of everything for profit, nothing outside of that, is natural and okay.
And this is why I'm a big fan of Montessori schools. And if folks
you went to one?
I did.
For a bit, didn't you?
And it was brilliant. Montessori schools are really about fostering this creative thinking and this sort of independence as well as interdependence. Because basically, Montessori schools are about like you have, like a set amount of objectives to cover in a day, but it's up to you to figure out like how you'd like to go about learning this, and if you'd like to work with a partner on this particular issue, or if you'd like to, and the teachers are there, right, to help if you get stuck. But a lot of it is you learning the way and at the rate that's comfortable for you.
And if
so in my Montessori school, there were a few kids that were special needs, but we didn't know that they were special needs. Like, I only look back at that and realize, oh yeah, like he was special needs, but we were all in the same class, and he just had a different way of going about things. Like, he didn't want to work with a partner. He was very like solo, but like we were all in the same space, and there were, different ages too. Like, there were kids that were a few years older than me and kids that were a few years younger, but we all had, objectives that were based on our rate of learning, and, the subjects that were appropriate for our advancement and stuff like that. And it was just a brilliant way of learning. And it really fostered this, this interest, this passion for learning. And it also fostered this sense of like, oh, I'm in control of my learning here. And this is fun and exciting. And yeah, it's,
Well, but you are a perfect example. The ruling elite would look at a badass broad who has made
so glad you chose that word.
has made amazing music and art and poetry and fights for activism and mutual aid, and they'd be like, whatever we did to create that, we got to stop. We've got to fucking stop that. I mean, honestly, if you wanna stop any change in this society, fucking get rid of the Montessori schools.
I remember like when I was in college and they did when I decided that I wanted to leave, I went to the career center and I was talking to them about like what I was passionate about, and they're like, "Yeah, but what are your skills?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, I've organized for the solar homes bill.
I can do the thing where you curl your tongue in on itself."
And they were like, yeah, community organizing. I guess, we could call that like communications. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, what else? And I'm like, I can juggle. I can spin plates. I'm still a soprano. I can hit a high note. And they were like, but what, that doesn't do anything. Like, what makes you marketable?
You're like,
I'm like, marketable? What the fuck am I? Like,
I can pitch a 90-mile-per-hour softball.
It was just like it made me feel really gross, and I ended up working in a recording studio where the creative skills were much more useful than anything that the career center was trying to pigeonhole me into working on. So yeah, it's really our education system is not built to foster creativity at all.
And I only vaguely remember this because I repressed it, I think, but also because my eyes glaze over and I stopped listening to them very quickly. But when I spoke to some of these people, whether it was professors or what are they called again? Guidance counselors, that help you with your career, help you with career choices. I would tell them that I wanted to do comedy writing. I would say comedy writing when I was in high school, or maybe comedian later. And they'd go, "Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool." Because they were told not to go. That's fucking stupid. So they'd be like, "That's really cool. So yeah, something like business related with creativity." So they'd be like, "Well, maybe." They'd go like, maybe marketing. Like marketing, there's a lot of comedy nowadays in commercials. You could write commercials and things like that. And they would always try and take the thing you really wanted to do and be like, "Here's how to be a cutthroat capitalist with it." But it was never couched in those terms. It was always couched in like, here's a way to make some good money doing something that's not what you like but has the trimmings of it.
Yeah, which is always the argument. They always try to. There were a few people as well that I spoke to about like my goals, and they try to couch it in this, and I'm sure they really did, want the best for me, but they'd couch it in a way that makes it sound so caring, like, well, look, I want you to have security, and I want you to not have to stress about money because that's very stressful. And I'm like, so is like wanting to die because you hate your life. Like I feel like that's also stressful. And
so is hating every minute of every day.
Right.
Where does that fit on the fucking stress spectrum?
But that's the thing. It's like happiness. That's why we don't have a it's instead of the GDP, we don't have like the happiness.
Gross domestic happiness.
Because no one fucking cares. Like in fact. Like, they don't want you to be happy. They want you to be like this drudge. Like, they want you to embrace the drudgery and think that life is all about just like going to work. And
you thought that happiness was involved in life. No, sweetie.
No, that's over once nap time starts being like a dedicated part of your day. Yeah. Nope.
Yeah. Once we cancel recess, then all of it is misery. It's just fucking misery. So can we move on from ice or
no? There's one more
thing.
disgusting bit that I want to share because it yeah. So basically what happened is that the Chicago office of ICE announced that it's starting a citizens academy, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's teaching members of the community to be more effective fascists. And basically it would include 6 days of training over a 6-week period starting in September, where members of the community are taught how to arrest undocumented immigrants.
So these are not ICE agents. These are random fucking people.
These are random people in the community that ICE Chicago has reached out to, I guess, because they saw their, swastika tattoos, and decided that they would be good people to learn, quote, defensive tactics, firearms familiarization, and targeted arrests. Like, legit, this is what they're teaching them. They're teaching them how to harass undocumented immigrants. And, spoiler alert, this is not something that you have to teach people. Like, this country is well versed in white militias terrorizing BIPOC folks. But ICE felt that,
you might have to teach grandma how to be a better fascist or something.
ICE felt that this was lacking. And again, this is part of their budget, right? So again, circling back to what we spend money on. We're spending money on ensuring the fact that we can teach people how to be better fascists. So, yeah, America.
That's incredible. Hey, let's get the community together and teach them how to hate each other and divide each other even more. I do want to some quick housekeeping, but I want to squeeze in the Russian bounties update, and we got to talk about the Redskins because people will be angry if we don't. So you know what we'll do? Let's make this. We'll make this a longer episode, folks, than normal, a little bit longer, and there won't be extra content this week. But you'll get the extra content within the longer episodes. So everyone goes home
Mazel
happy.
tov.
Everyone goes home happy. Some quick notes. Live stream this Friday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We're trying to get a more standard time. So far it's been Friday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. That's at youtube.com/moment of clarity. We're hoping to get a better video quality this week. And as many of you already know, that's where we hang out with you. We chat. We answer your questions. It's great because it feels more like a community rather than just us talking over the airwaves like this, like our podcast. But also, Eleanor's movie, which just won another laurel,
an official selection. Laurel, yes.
From one of the
New York City Chain Fest, I believe.
Chain Fest, right. That's at hardroadofhope.com. Hardroadofhope.com. You can grab the film, and it's an hour documentary. It's wonderful. Everyone should see it. They're talking about teaching it in some schools, right?
Yeah, it's. I've reached out to some folks about using it as a teaching tool and an organizing tool, so that's exciting. If you are part of, if you're a teacher or part of an organization that would be interested in using it for that, then please do reach out to me via hardroadofhope.com.
My comedy special, 82,000 people have now watched it for free at leecampamerican.com. It's free. If you ever have an hour of free time, please go watch it for free. Did I mention it's fucking free? leecampamerican.com. Please share it with folks. Even actually, if you've already watched it, please take a moment after this podcast and just email it to someone. Be like, check out this comedy special. What do you have to lose? They get a free hour. So enjoy. Live stand-up comedy and well reviewed as well. If you'd like to keep this show going, which luckily you guys have wanted to keep it going this far, that's at patreon.com/commoncensored. Patreon.com/commoncensored. Please become a member there to keep Common Censored going another year. And my book is 10% off at leecampbook.com. Just type in the coupon code BPAPL. So I think if you use that coupon code and you get the digital version, the ebook, you're getting down to it's like $7 or something, $7.50 maybe. So it's very cheap to get the digital version. The paperback's not much more expensive. All of Eleanor's work is at artkillingapathy.com. She's got some great new stuff up there recently. And but let's get to these last two stories because I definitely want to get these in here.
Go.
So I had to. It goes without saying. It goes without saying that when I am furious about a story because I know it's utter horseshit and it's clear it's utter horseshit and you're going to see it's collapsing, and people probably get annoyed that I keep coming back to it, but we're watching it collapse. As I said, as other good journalists, quality journalists actually said, this story has fucking collapsed into thin air. The Russian bounties story. The Russians are paying Taliban to try and kill U.S. soldiers, and you even had fucking idiots acting like they had proof where fucking Nation of Change put out a image of image of soldiers that they said had been killed by the It was all fake.
Because the thing that pissed me off so much about that one in particular is You don't know. Like, do you think that when we bring the bodies back home, they come with an ID card of who killed them? You don't fucking know. You don't know who pulled the trigger or who laid that mine. That's fucking stupid.
Right.
That's like the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Right. So, so the latest update on how this is falling apart, even NBC News, obviously the owner of MSNBC. So even NBC and MSNBC are now calling the Russian bounties, quote unquote, less than conclusive. Yeah.
I love that.
You might want to say they're less.
Do you know
than
what else
conclusive.
is less than conclusive? The flat Earth theory. That is less than conclusive.
It's very true. So that is their way. That is the closest you will ever see NBC News to saying something they reported earlier was just flat out false. Their version of that is less than conclusive. So now the neoliberals and the fucking neocons who push this story, now their new goal is to say, well, yes, that story was less than conclusive, but you're missing the big picture. The way to do honestly, that is basically saying, like, yes, we lied to you earlier, but you're missing the big picture.
Is that we just hate Russia. That's I mean, come on. Follow us on this.
So Aaron Mate did a great mashup where, or whatever, a couple of photos where he showed Rachel Maddow's blog. She did, big surprise, and I played a clip of this on the last Redacted tonight. She went fucking frothing at the mouth. She was frothing at the ears. It was actually so bad. She was frothing at the ears at this Russian bounty story, which any journalist who's done fucking a year of work or education or a week would know that this didn't have much there. It was an anonymous source at the CIA, which has admitted that their job is to lie to us. So anyway, Aaron Mate, great journalist, he posted Maddow's old tweet from a week ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, her old tweet that said, "It's one level of bad to realize that Russia is doing this. It's a whole other level of bad to know that the U.S. president has known that Russia was doing it for months and during that time chosen to do nothing about it." Okay, so he put up her tweet and then he wrote, "Waiting for Rachel Maddow and Maddow blog to acknowledge that its own network now says the intel on Russian bounties was less than conclusive." And then Aaron Mate wrote, "It's one level of bad journalism to hype unverified, anonymous, thin claims. It's a whole other level of bad journalism to refuse to correct it."
I love it. That's great.
And it's so fucking true. It's like these folks know exactly what they're doing. They put out this horseshit story. They get the usefulness out of it. They squeeze it like a damp rag. They get all the usefulness out of it. And then quietly, a week or two later, they go, "Oh, that was less than conclusive.
Wasn't a thing.
That was less than conclusive." And in terms of by the way, I don't like Donald Trump. I know he doesn't read his presidential briefings, daily briefings. I don't
think he reads.
I don't think he reads. I think when people come to tell him these briefings, his eyes glaze over and he says, he asks them about their golf, how nice his golf course is in their eyes. So I get that. But part of the thing about Trump knew about this and didn't do anything was that it was put in a briefing a while back, even though in the briefing it said that it was, I can't remember the exact terms. It wasn't less than conclusive, but it was a similar term that the intel community uses to basically say they don't have a lot of evidence of this. And Ray McGovern, who was a CIA analyst for Bush, like for the first President Bush, like went into the Oval Office daily, gave him daily briefings. So he knows the terminology. He knows how this works. He knows what this means. He goes, in my time as a CIA briefer, you would never put something with that low level of credibility, even in the president's report, because all it does is influence the president's decision-making on something that's not verified. So the fact that it was even in a presidential briefing is like a bizarre effort to sway this story. So the idea that Trump knew about this, but biggity brew, and didn't do shit, like, it's ridiculous. Look, I hate Trump, but there's not even a reason a president should act on something like this.
Yeah.
All right, so now let's get to the Redskins name change.
So folks might have heard yesterday.
Why does it matter? You're going to tell us why it matters.
Right. So folks might have heard yesterday that the Redskins have announced that they are changing their name. And if folks are listening to this and they're like, I don't know what that means, the Washington Redskins, it's the D.C.
Only on our podcast when we have fans that are like, never heard of the NFL. But it's true. We probably do have some.
I call it hand egg because football is what Americans call soccer for some reason.
By the way, we should couch this with, there's two things about the Redskins that, even though I don't watch football anymore, I haven't watched it in years. One, I grew up on the Redskins because I grew up around D.C. and then we moved to Richmond, which doesn't have a football team. So the Redskins, we'd watch basically every game. And secondly, I'm descended from Walter Camp, who invented American football, basically. He's called the godfather or grandfather of American football, came up with a lot of the rules. Anyway, I have a lot of connections to football, but I don't watch it anymore.
Right, and you're not, just like with the Confederate statues, and you're related to Robert E. Lee, just like with that, you're not like, I think that should stay.
It's true, although I'm also not, people say sports are the opiate of the masses. That can be true, but I also you do need a break sometimes. I do watch tennis matches occasionally.
No. This is,
you need a break.
I'm saying that you don't think the name should stay.
No. I get that. Yeah,
I absolutely think that sports should be
that.
a thing. I think it's a great outlet to deal with, anger issues or whatever in a way that you're not killing each other. You're pitching fastballs right by their head at 90 miles an hour.
And
but
that's why football needs to change, because some of them are kind of killing each other. But
right.
Anyway,
that's a different story. So the Washington Redskins is an NFL team that has, for a long time, gotten a lot of shit, not just from the indigenous community, from a lot of folks, who are standing up as well against this horrific name. And the logo is basically a decapitated Native American head. And the name is obviously a fucking slur.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it's clearly a slur. Some Native Americans have said, and I imagine that names catch on, in the 1800s for various reasons, or was 1600s really, for the various reasons. But some Native Americans have said the term redskin does not come from the tint of the skin, but comes from Native Americans covered in blood when they're killed. So that was where they got the name Redskin.
Right, and it's important to note here too. Some people might be listening to this and saying, "Well, I saw a tweet, but by an indigenous person that says that they don't mind the name." Look, there's no such thing as a monolith. There are women that think that Trump is great and that women shouldn't have control over their own bodies.
Kanye West was a big Trump fan, all right?
Right, and said that slavery was a choice or something. So it's like there is no such thing as everybody in one group saying, "I agree with this." But those people that are like, "I'm indigenous, I don't care about the Redskins," are not the people to listen to on this issue, because that is basically the oppressed taking up the mantle of the oppressor, right? Same way that women saying "I love Trump," it's like, don't fucking listen to those women, because those are women who are self-hating women. So basically, the Redskins have come under fire for a long time with regards to the name, and
this is not new.
Never wanted to change it. They were just like, "Nope, fuck you, don't care." And then after the recent uprisings, and after a lot of statues of Columbus just happened to, I guess,
they just fell over.
They committed suicide.
There was a heavy gravity day a few weeks back.
Right, yes.
And many of these statues did not get through the heavy gravity day.
Right, yeah. It was and some of them actually even went so far as to throw themselves into the water, which,
Some of them set their own faces on fire, which that is not...
Felt extreme to me,
yeah.
But, we all have to make our own choices. And so these uprisings that were clearly anti-colonial, anti-imperialist, and really focused on the power of how folks are represented and the symbols of a place and of a country. And then Nike decided to pull all of the all of the Redskins gear off their website. A few other people, I believe it was FedEx, said that they weren't going to support the name anymore. And then the Redskins announced that they were going to change their name.
It's interesting how that works.
So here's the thing. People will say that, shit like toppling statues or shit like, protesting out in the streets doesn't work. But Exhibit A. And also people might say, well, what the fuck? It's just a name. And this goes back to the representation. The way that people are represented in society matters. I'm thinking about when I was younger and I first saw like the caricature of the Jewish man, like these like beady little eyes and like always, counting his money and this huge nose and like the little ringlets on the side of his face. And it just looked horrific. Like the quote unquote like Jewish rat. And like that matters. That kind of representation fucking matters. Right. It's the same thing with how black folks were represented, looking like apes and things like that. It matters how we look at people in our society, because then when you are confronted with a person who is indigenous or black or Jewish or whatever, you're going to have that representation in your fucking brain, because we can't avoid how we're programmed in society. So that is going to dictate how you react and how you interact with these people in society. And so that representation of indigenous peoples clearly just points out that they are literally fucking worthless. They're just something that you can kill, stick their head on a fucking helmet, and have this slur as part of your proud games, your bread and circus, and that's abhorrent. And so representation and how we discuss and portray people really fucking matters, and that's why this name change is important. And that's why, the statues are important too, because how are we portraying the people that matter to us in society? What does that say about us as a society? So no, this isn't like, oh my God, indigenous people win all their rights. No, but this is an important step in considering how those indigenous peoples are represented and how we talk about them and how we interact with them.
Absolutely. And for those, Redskins fans who are, whenever there's something like this, there's always the pushback where they're like, I'm never calling them anything else. They're still the Redskins to me. I would like to remind you that you somehow put up with the shift to FedEx Field for the name of the arena. FedEx Field. Fuck you. When I first heard that, it was, I think, they made that switch 15 or 20 years ago or something, but I wasn't paying much attention. And they were like, oh yeah, it's FedEx Field now. And I was like, why do people accept this? Why not just...
Yeah, that's the hill you should die on.
Why not just keep calling it the old name that had some meaning to you instead of FedEx Field or whatever? This one in Chicago, they're like, loan, the best loans, what 100% rate guaranteed field or whatever. It's terrible. And like people fucking make the shift because they're told to. They're told to by the announcers. They're told to by the commercials and things like that. But it's like, those are the ones you should care about.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to repeat a corporate name endlessly every time I talk about the sport I watch. Get angry about that one. Don't get angry that they're shifting away from a name that a lot of people view as extremely racist.
Right. And I will go ahead and say that as a Mets fan, I am never calling it Citi Field. It will always be Shea Stadium. I know that they tore down the old Shea Stadium. I don't fucking care. That's not the point. It's always going to be Shea Stadium. Fuck Citibank. But with regards to, it's like... Well, now I lost my train of thought because I just started thinking about the Mets.
See, even she likes some sports.
No, I do. And there's a whole like tangent I could go off on and talking about the importance of sports. And I've written articles about this as well. As somebody who played sports.
And we've discussed before that the problem is that sports get used to do things like promote militarism and stuff like that, with the jets flying overhead and all this shit. Right. So it's not the sport in and of itself, well, except with football where they are killing each other, but in most cases, it's not the sport in of itself that's a problem. It's, and the Olympics over time has been used actually to promote a great deal of health and diplomacy between nations.
And what you learn I think it's great for kids to play sports, because what you learn sportsmanship, you learn, working together and collaborating towards a common goal. So I think like that kind of stuff is really important, and it's just fucking fun. I mean, for the most part, I never enjoyed running sprints in fucking 100-degree heat.
I go a little nuts if I don't have some sort of, either running or tennis or something for like, if it's like 5 days with nothing, I definitely start to lose it.
Oh, my legs just start walking off by themselves. I will say, I don't understand the running. I only run when chased. I don't understand. Every time I've tried to become a runner, I get like halfway down the block, and then I'm like, why am I doing this? Is anyone chasing me? No. Why the fuck? I could just like saunter.
I could hire someone to chase you if you'd like.
Could you?
I can get you a guy. I can get you a guy on Tuesday.
You know what this might be? It's that when I did softball and I had to do sprints, sometimes our coach would chase us in a golf cart. So maybe that's where this is coming from.
Well,
just psychoanalyzed myself there.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I've never had the people that do the long distance stuff. I'm sure we have some marathoners listening. I've never been up to that level. I get to like, the most I've ever done was like a 10K or something, and I get to like 4 miles, 5. I think recently during the pandemic I have done 6 or 7, but even those, it's very rare, and by the end of them, I'm like, why is this happening? And then my toenails fall off, and it doesn't, it's not good.
Yeah, well, if that's your thing, bless you. That's great, but...
Well, we did get off on a tangent for the end here, but it's all right. I have enjoyed this time with everybody, and I hope you enjoyed the elongated episode. As we mentioned, no extra content because we included the extra content in the show this time around. But head on over to patreon.com/commoncensored. We have updated tiers there. You can get a copy of one of our books if you'd like. That's patreon.com/commoncensored. The live stream is this Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, where we chat. It's free to attend. We chat with you. We answer your questions, talk about your topics. That's only at youtube.com/momentofclarity. And Eleanor's movie is at hardroadofhope.com. Definitely check that out. My comedy special is free. If you've already seen it, I'd love for you to go email it to someone right now, leecampamerican.com. Just shoot them an email and say, this is free. Watch it. You'll enjoy it. Let's see. Email us, commoncensored@protonmail.com. All of Eleanor's work is at artkillingapathy.com. Oh, we each have a separate podcast. Eleanor's is called Act Out. Check that out.
Yes.
I have just started a new one called Government Secrets with Graham Elwood. So look those up.
Yes, indeedy. And until next time, act out.
Keep fighting.